past week for Brazil, that's right, as they boosted their chances to qualify for the World Cup out in America. But still, Argentina are number one. Can they be caught? We're going to get into it. All of it next. That's right, folks, back once again in another video. Today it's all about South American football, of course, as 6 nations try to get a little bit closer to qualifying for the World Cup out in the US of A. Who will do that? Who will get another strike in the old tick column? We'll get into it, all of it in a second. If you're new, where you been? Smash your subscribe and you want to stop shop for Colombia World Cup qualification right here under Waruski. Of course, here's another big win for Argentina, doing their thing. They're, of course, home and dry already. But what about the chasing pack? Who's closing in? Who's, of course, drifting away? We'll get into all of that in a second. Of course, big shout out to the VIPs, the other patrons. You know who you are. But anyway, let's get into it. All right then, folks, let's take a look back at how we all got on last time around. When I say all, I say me. But these are the results of the games, of course. Big win, monstrous win for Bolivia against Venezuela. 4-0 gives Bolivia a good chance to get back into the qualification phase. I'll talk about where we all are in a minute. Argentina with that big 3-0 win over Chile. La Roca taking an L. Argentina getting another win, just the one defeat so far. Meanwhile, Uruguay, Paraguay. 0-0 on the night over in Uruguay. Oh, the 2-0 win, so Argentina opening up a bit of a gap at the top of the table there. Brazil with that 1-0 win over Ecuador, just enough to get himself right back in the thick of things. That's the first win in 5, that Brazil. And Peru, Colombia, 1-1, which continues Colombia's unbeaten streak in there. They've drawn a few, but they're still in there, and they're still in prime position to qualify, as are Argentina. As you see from the graphic, we are looking at top 6 qualify, 7th goes into a playoff, the bottom 3 go home, and currently that's Peru, Chile, and Bolivia. But it is airtight at the bottom. That 6th, that 7th place is going to be massive. Anyone can get it right now, and you're not ruling out anybody. We're a long ways away from finding out who's going where, but we can see maybe 1 or 2 nations qualifying by the end of the calendar year, and Argentina could be one of them. 18 points for them so far. Uruguay up there with 14, Colombia, and then Brazil right back in the thick of things, finally with a win. So again, this is where we usually would look at your picks, but I can't get there right now because I'm on the road. But the prediction league is still open. Get in amongst it, get your names in there, and we'll see who gets right and who gets wrong next time around. So speaking of next time around, these are the next games. And we're going to start at the top of the graphic with, of course, Colombia up against Argentina. So let's get going and head on over to Colombia. Whenever you're ready, pilot. He'll kick in the gear in a minute. But anyway, Néstor Lorenzo's Colombia up against Lionel Scaloni's Argentina, taking place, of course, in round 8 of the World Cup qualification matches over in South America. Colombia and Argentina have played 19 times since 2003. There's been 3 wins for Colombia, 11 wins for Argentina. There's been 5 draws between the two sides. Colombia, though, on 67% form for them at the moment, back-to-back games without a win. But, of course, unbeaten still in that World Cup qualification phase. Up against the Argentinian side, who, of course, 6 wins on a row. That might, of course, stretch back even further than that. Current World Cup winners, current Copa America winners. They are, of course, a force to be reckoned with right now. The previous match between these two sides was in the final of that Copa America. It was a 1-0 win for Argentina. Won back-to-back wins over Colombia, back-to-back 1-0 wins, so back-to-back clean sheets as well, with Colombia's last victory coming against Argentina way back in June 2019. It was a 2-0 win for Colombia in the Copa America tournament as well. Of course, coming into this, Colombia on the back of that 1-1 draw against Peru. Argentina with that 3-0 win over Chile. I guess it's been 3 games without conceding a goal for Argentina. So which way are we swinging on this one? I am going for goal bonanza here. I'm going to go with a 2-2 thriller in Colombia. And I think both sides will be happy with that. Of course, another point in the bag and remain unbeaten for Colombia. And that could continue into the next round of matches. All right then, boys, let's go on over to La Roca. La Roca, it is Chile. They're going to be taking on Bolivia, of course, coming at you this coming 10th of September. That's right, coming at you over at the, where are we playing? It's in Chile, I don't know. The aircraft is coming on in, landing in around about now. But anyway, Chile and Bolivia played 16 times in 2004. 12 wins for Chile, 1 win for Bolivia, 3 draws between the two sides at the Estadio Nacional Julio Martínez Barrandos. That's where we're playing. Chile, though, without a win in 4 now, just 1 win in the last 6. Up against the Bolivia side, also 1 win in the last 6. That's the last match was their first win, and I don't even know how long. They're on 17% 50% form for them at the moment. Up against Chile, just one win in the last 6. Now, they last played these two sides way back in June 2023. It was a 0-0 draw. The record, did I tell you? 12 wins for Chile, just 1 win for Bolivia, 3 draws. That one and only win for Bolivia was a 1-0 win. And of course, that was way back in September 2017 in Bolivia. The last time I played in Chile, it was a 1-0 win for Chile back in June 2021. La Roca do come into this on the back of a 3-0 loss to Argentina. It's been 1, 2, 3, 4 games now without a goal for Chile. So they're screaming out for some goal scorers. As for the opposition, Bolivia coming into this on the back of a convincing 4-0 win over Venezuela. They've also struggled with goals prior to that game. What are we thinking about this one? My guts, again, do we have any odds? I don't think we have any odds for this one, so we're going to go with what's in my genes here, guys. My genes is a victory for La Roca. They'll break it at long last. Home games are absolutely vital in this qualification phase. Going to go with a 2-0 win for Chile over Bolivia to give them a boost to try and make it a 2026 in the US of A. Next up for us, folks, we are heading over to Ecuador, that's right, as they take on Peru. Of course, let's get them on the old screen there. Now, these two sides are familiar foes. 18 times they've played since 2003. 6 wins for Ecuador, 5 for Peru, 7 draws. Of course, Ecuador under Felix Sanchez, 40% form for them right now. Just 1 win in the last 5. They hit a bit of a stinker. Where are we going here, guys? Hit a bit of a stinker has Felix Sanchez. However, Jorge Fossati's Peru also on 42% form. Not the greatest form at the moment for these two sides. Peru, just 1 win in 6. Ecuador, just 1 win in 5. And the last match they played between each other was back in February 2022. It was a 1-1 draw back in Peru in the World Cup qualification phase for the last World Cup out in Qatar. The last time either of these two sides won, it was Peru. They beat Ecuador in Ecuador back in June 2021. The Ecuadorians coming into this on the back of that 1-0 loss to Brazil, but Peru on the back of that 1-1 draw at Colombia, against Colombia in Peru. They've only played 1 match of the last 6 away from home, according to my eyes. That might be that might not necessarily be true. But what we're thinking about this one, of course, Ecuador at home, it's been a bit shitty of late. Peru the same. It is quite dark. Smells like a draw, but I'm going to go with a 2-1 win for Ecuador to snatch it and again boost their chances to make the finals over in USA, Canada, and Mexico. Right, folks, we're heading over to Venezuela now as they take on Uruguay. Of course, Venezuela, not the greatest form for them, but they did have an amazing Copa America where they, of course, made it to the latter stages of that one. They are, of course, under the stewardship of Fernando Bastilla up against Uruguay and Marco Bielsa. Bielsa ball. Played 15 times these two nations since 2004. 3 wins for Venezuela, 5 wins for Uruguay, and 7 draws between the two sides. Taking place at the monumental stadium of Maturin over in Venezuela. 58% form for them heading into this one. Back-to-back defeats up against Uruguay's side. Just 1 win in 4 for Bielsa ball. I'll talk about that in a minute. The last time they played these two sides, it was in Uruguay back in February 2022. It was a 4-1 win for Uruguay. Meanwhile, Venezuela's last victory was back in Uruguay back in June 2016. It was a 1-0 win for Venezuela. Was it in Venezuela? When it was in Europe? It was in the Copa America, so I might have been wrong. Anyway, Uruguay coming into this on the back of a successive draws. In fact, their last official victory, not including that penalty shootout against Canada, was probably a 4-2 penalty shootout against Brazil. The last outright victory for Uruguay under Bielsa ball was a 1-0 win against USA. That was within 90 minutes. Meanwhile, Venezuela coming into this on the back of that 4-0 loss to Bolivia. Their last victory was a 3-0 win outright. Was a 3-0 win against Jamaica. You're Jamaica me crazy, guys. I'm going to go with a 1-1 draw on this one. I think it's just going to continue a bit of a slump here for Uruguay. They need to get back to winning ways to showcase what they're all about. And then wrap it up, of course, over in the CONMEBOL World Cup Qualification phase. Round 8 is Paraguay up against Brazil. Taking place over in Paraguay. Brazil back in the thick of things, so glad to see that. Paraguay under Gustavo Alfalfa up against Brazil's Dorival, that's right. Played each other 14 times since 2004. 4 wins for Paraguay, 7 for Brazil, 3 draws. It's in Paraguay as well, so get that, make that settle down in there for just a second. However, Paraguay just 1 win in the last 6 matches. That's 25% form for them right now. Brazil just 1 defeat in the last 6, but they have drawn 3 of the last 6 heading into this one. Just 2 wins the last 6 is what I'm trying to tell you. However, they last played each other in Paraguay back in 2002. So 2021, it was a 2-0 win for Brazil. However, since then, they have played a couple of times, once in Brazil and once at the Copa America in the USA. And that was, of course, this calendar year back in June. It was a 4-1 win for Brazil. They really turned on the scar. In fact, the Brazilians have scored 10 goals against Paraguay in the last 3 games combined, conceding just the 1. Brazil on the back of that 1-0 win over Ecuador. Paraguay with that 0-0 draw away to Uruguay. Monumental point for them on the road. They are massive results for them. At the Chaco Defenders Stadium, but unfortunately, it's only going to be 1 win. I'm going to go with Brazil. They're back. Well, no, they're not there back, but of course got a little bit of a spunk about them, and I think they can cause some problems against Paraguay and their own backyard. That, my friends, is my predictions for the match number 8 over in the CONMEBOL. Be sure to get your own picks as well using the link. We'll be back with, of course, an update of that when we return for match number 9 in October. But that, my friends, is that. Subscribe, smash the like, catch you.